Hi guys, welcome to this video. Here in the UK we're on lockdown, as is quite a bit of the world because of this COVID-19 pandemic. So since I can't get outside and get on the kayak fishing, I thought I would show you my kayak, show you how I set it up, any little problems I've had on the way, because it's not a kayak which is designed for fishing, how I've got over them, and all the wee bits and pieces. So let's have a look at this kayak, take it from there. So ladies and gents, this is my kayak. What it is a Frontier 2+1, so it's a two-man kayak, but you can solo crew it. And since I like to go fishing on my own, I've had to adjust it to suit my needs. So the first thing I needed to do was to get a better seat, so I'll go and put that on now. So this is the new seating position. When it's a two-man seat, one person would sit here and the other one back here, but when you're running solo, you've got to put the seat in the middle. That created another issue, was my legs were too up to the leg support, which are these bits, feet rests, so the seat was too far. So I made up a little console which sits straight in there like that. So my feet now rest on here. There I have put clips on to lock it in, so if the worst did happen I wouldn't lose it, and of course I can then use it as a I'll run through those bits in a little while. Next thing, since I'm actually going from here, the original fishing rod holders were here on these bolts here, a little bit too far away for my liking, so I've repositioned two rod holders port and starboard there. So let's pop them on, 2 seconds. So now I've put on my rod holders, as you can see, one on port, one on starboard. What I've also done is put Nav Lights, just reasonably cheap Nav Lights you buy on the internet, port and starboard, for when the visibility, the light isn't brilliant. We'll have a look on the console a little bit more. This middle bit here is for my fish finder, 4X, which is got GPS as well, so let's click that in a second. So here is my Lawrence fish finder attached, and of course any fish finder needs the transducer and power. The transducer I've actually put inside the kayak, just underneath this hatch back there. I have got another video out how I've fitted that internally, but the battery itself I've had to come up with a little box, which is this one, and that sits just like that, and there is a strap to put over it just to hold it tight, and I'll quickly do that. So this is the battery box all connected up. As you can see, it's on a snap release, wires coming outside of it, which then link in to the back of the unit. You can see that as normal. On the unit itself it says stopped, but because once I come out I don't have the transducer working, and this is just GPS at the moment. It's just trying to find itself. That's why there's a question mark in the middle of the screen. To the left of that is just a little rod holder, just somewhere I can place my rod as I'm working on it, and this of course is one of my camera mounts, so it's quite useful that. Down here what I've also put on is just a mount for my VHS radio. It has a lanyard. It is I connect it up when I'm actually out on the water, so it's nice and secure. Those eagle-eyed amongst you would have also noticed that I've got an anchor trolley, or a 3/4 anchor trolley this side. I've got a full anchor trolley the other side. Always useful to have two. And what I would recommend that everybody puts an anchor trolley on, even if it's for a drift shoot. You don't need it just for anchorage. Drift shoots are very important, very nice. If you drifting, it always pulls the bow or the stern, depending which end you've got it, into the waves, which makes life a lot more comfortable. Talking of anchoring and drift shoots, I needed somewhere to store that. So what I've done, I got an old fishing basket and adjusted it to fit the back. So that's where these D clips come in. Let's go and get that and put that on a second. So this is the old tackle box I said I had, just a plastic body. I did have to shape the body to fit the contours of the kayak, because I've got this mound here. That's all I've done. When it was empty, put a heat gun in there, warmed it up, warmed the plastic up, pressed it on, let it cool, and of course it moulded itself to the bottom of the kayak. And in there I've got my anchor wire, anchor float, that's the anchor itself, and also my drift chute. Also keep a few bits and pieces like chopping board for the bait, etc. in there. You also notice there's a mount on the top, and I use that for another light. That can just sit on there like that, and that's just white light. And I can lift that up on a telescopic rod, so it's nice and high. Don't use my lights very often, but it's always nice to know they're there if I need them. And that just clips on and off with a GoPro mount. On the back of the kayak, this little bit here is where I keep my trolley. Fits in there nicely, an old sea tug. Yet again I made a different bag for it, and it keeps nice and tight, snug in there, and attaches to the kayak so I don't lose it. I've also put this on, that just ratchets in like that, and what I use that for, does ratchet in, but I took it the wrong way, typical, is this is my high-vis flag, and that sits over there like that. It does lock on with a zip tie. Zip tie goes through there. These are quite good, these zip ties. You can actually unlock them. I won't lock it up now, but it basically sits in there like that, and it just makes me a little bit more visible. If I'm at anchor or even drifting, it doesn't matter, it just makes me more visible. So this was an old aerial mount, which I got off the internet, screwed it onto the base. This was one of my old dive flags, because I'm an ex-scuba diver, and that is just a bit of plastic water tube which I've drilled through, just to make it secure, and pilot holes, so that'll run through there and zip up. Okay, I do have another rod rest, which is the old Scotty launcher. Which goes on there, and that is just to clip the rod in. So this is the setup with the rods. As you can tell, I've cut out little locks here out of this. This is just waste pipe for a little plumbing DIY job I had. What then could attach to the box on the side, both sides. So I've got capability of 4 rods, and they come in and just lock in themselves in there. I will attach safety harness or lines on them, so if the worst comes to the worst I don't lose my rods. And of course that's the setup with the rod holders at the front. I've also got this little bracket here, and what that is for my mobile phone. I have a waterproof case, and that just locks in there because I use Nav equipment on my phone, so that just backs up my GPS. I have other stuff to go on as well. I have a landing net, but most important of all is my camera equipment. Now the camera I'm using at the moment I attach to a chest strap which sits on my chest, of course, but then I've got 2 more camera mounts to go. So one of them, as I said, goes there, and that gives me a forward shot, and the other I use this little beastie, and that locks itself on another GoPro mount which I put on top like that. That gets clipped onto the board, and that can just get extended out. So that would give me my side shot. So I've got another camera mount which I can attach onto there. All these get adjusted appropriately, and that's just a spin top, so my camera can go on there. So the most I can have is up to 4 cameras on board. Do like having more than one camera, because if I have a problem with one I can switch to another camera. So it's taken me a good year to come up with ideas, and just adjust things accordingly. So if you've got any comments, please leave them on the box below. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Let's hope this COVID-19 pandemic clears itself quickly. As you can see, we've got beautiful weather and light winds at the moment. You know, I really should be out on the river. Annoying, isn't it? But we'll all get through this together. So I also have my tackle box, which I put in between my legs, so that sits in there like that. I've got a bungee which locks it in position. I've also got a compass on it, so if the visibility did go down and all my electronics failed, at least I can find my way back to where I started from. Also, this little bit here I utilise. I've just got another tackle box which just sits in there, and it just keeps a few extra spare things I may need. Well guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you stay well, and let's all get fishing when we can. Tight lines.